Alright, quick story time since I'm all out of ideas. Hey you, yes you. Did you know I'm making a game now? Yes, I'll keep plugging case files in every video now, we're getting desperate anyway. Did you know that before case files, I actually had a different project in mind? No, not Lightners vs Darkness, I mean before that, before I even made this channel. Back in July 2019, I had the idea for an Undertale fan game, heavily inspired by Undertale and Don't Forget by Ricky G. Yeah, bet it's been a while since you heard of those. I loved the idea of a sequel to the true pacifist ending, so eventually I settled on a plot and started thinking of ideas. That fan game is actually the very reason I got into music. It's also the reason I started learning programming and game design. The idea was that it would take place after Undertale's true pacifist ending. Monsters were free, Frisk was their ambassador, everything was great. However, humans now living in a modern era with basically no knowledge of their magical ancestors were understandably scared of the monsters. Monsters were still scared of humans as well, so it turned into this kinda stalemate. Monsters started rebuilding their home on top of Mount Ebott, while humans kept their distance from them. So basically nothing changed. In the game you'd play as an adventurer who traveled to the new monster village to interview Frisk, only to find out that Frisk wasn't home right now, and ended up stuck as Sense and Papyrus's roommate for a week. On the day of Frisk's return, they head through the village and meet Frisk's friends. They soon find Frisk in a cave, but before anything can happen, the floor collapses underneath them. They then both wake up back in the ruins, only now everything is grey and even more decayed. They soon stumble upon Chara, who at first thinks they're going crazy and runs away. After finding Chara in Toriel's home alone, they join up and explain that they're stuck in a form of purgatory, a grey line in between life and death. This is where Chara has been ever since Asriel died and their soul disappeared. The three then travel through different realities to get back home, with Frisk and Chara acting as allies exactly how Susie and Ralsei do. Eventually they'd even find Floey, now trying to get back home to finally free the two characters that never escaped the underground, all for one true perfect ending. And also Gaster would be the main villain after they wake him up. Gimme a break, it was 2019. While admittedly not perfect, I always felt like this could make for a really cool fan game if I actually made it, and that's what I've been trying to do for the last 4 years. God, it's crazy to think it's already been 4 years since I came up with this idea. Anyway, I did actually manage to get the first chapter, I guess you could call it, into game form about a year ago, so I guess I'll show some gameplay from that now, after which I'll explain why I cancelled it all. Now keep in mind, I never intended anyone to actually see this build of the game, so it's not the best. Lots of jank, so many placeholder graphics, terrible dialogue which even 11-year-old me could have written better, and easily the worst attempts at custom Frisk sprites I've seen to this day. It should be clear now why I'm so desperate to find artists for case files. I think I also used the Undertale Yellow Hat sprite, also the player is just a placeholder as well. It's very clearly not finished, so don't laugh at it too much. That being said, roll the 30-minute long clip. Looking back on this, I guess it's fine. It is pre-alpha stages, so I guess I shouldn't be too hard on myself. Anyway, the idea is there. I think the little polish I did add shows how much work actually went into this thing. For example, the Alphys scene. The moment the player moves after that cuts scene, Alphys calls them to warn about Met-Adden. But before the player moves, they can actually open their inventory and call Alphys first, which prompts different dialogue. So yeah, I did put some thought into this. So if there was real passion here, why did I scrap it? Well, the answer is very simple. I made Frisk and Chara female.
That is not true.
Yup, that's right. 4 years of work all down the drain because I gave the KFC trio genders. Well, duo, Chris isn't in this game. Hiding that little plot twist was hard since almost every main character called Frisk a she, so editing the footage is gonna be interesting. I've always seen Frisk and Chara as female, and back in 2019 I wasn't massively involved in the fandom yet, so I didn't know how controversial of an opinion this apparently is. Back then I was making this game entirely for myself, not considering what other people's reaction to it might be. I liked it, and at the time that's all that mattered to me. But seeing how judgmental and aggressive the fanbase is kinda scared me, and so I ultimately gave up on it entirely. I could have easily just left the two genderless, but why should I? This is my personal interpretation of the characters. This game was never supposed to be canon either. This game was always meant to be my personal interpretation of Undertale 2, so why should I have to change certain details to please the subreddit? Anyway, now that this game isn't a priority anymore, I can concentrate more on videos and on case files, a game I actually managed to find a small team for. If you're wondering if there's a chance I'll revisit the other game someday, honestly I don't know. I'd like to, and I still have the entire story in my head, so it would be possible. I had so many different ideas for this thing. I remember at one point I thought about making a character called Red who'd basically be a robotic assassin created by Gaster designed to look like Sense who'd hunt the player down. Then I learned there's already a character called Red. Still, I had an entire sequence planned out where this robot Sense and the player would be falling down a large cliffside and fight while falling, so during the battle, the entire screen would be constantly spinning. Can you imagine what an Undertale battle would be like if the screen was constantly spinning? Looking back at it, that was definitely a more goofy idea, since realistically that would just make everyone motion sick, but still it showed how ambitious I was with this game. The player would have a friendship level with both Frisk and Chara which would increase depending on if the player fought or spared. I had lots of ideas. But still, seeing how bad the fanbase actually is really demotivated me. You might remember just a few weeks ago there was that massive drama around Alter Heaven, a fan comic series which was almost completely cancelled because it hinted at a relationship between Noel and Bradley, proving the fanbase hasn't changed one bit. I find it so ironic how a fanbase so desperate for more content can still be this picky and judgmental. Anyway, that's all I got for today. I've got some more video ideas and work on case files to keep me busy for the next while. Until next time, I'm tired as always.